This is DX Central Live.
Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test. Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
The Gulf South
to your corner of the world.
This is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
There we go. Now it's I don't know what happened, guys. I really don't. It's there we go. Let me get that off my earphones. Can you guys still hear me now? Is it working? Is this good? Is the echo gone now? Better? Hold up. Let me pull up the stream here on the phone. See what you guys are hearing. Better? Hold up. Let me pull up the stream here. Okay, that sounds better. Okay. We had it working earlier, and, you know, obviously it's worked every week so far this year. Sorry about that, guys. All right. We're going to pull the audio up a little bit because you guys said it's a little weak. So we'll pull it up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we had, I don't know if it's because we're doing the new simulcast or not. I don't know, but apparently my audio settings changed. You know, I did do a Windows update today. Earlier this afternoon, I did a Windows update. So I'm going to blame it on that. I'm not going to blame the new streaming platform that we're using here to simulcast on 4 different platforms. I'm going to blame Windows because that's the fun thing to do. All right. So, like I was saying, I've been writing down shout-outs as I've seen them from our folks that usually join. So, if you have new logs for new stations, new countries, new states, make sure you let us know here in the chat so that I can write it down and give you a shout-out as we like to do every week. It's been a busy week. We had a couple of DX tests. We're going to talk about that in a bit. We've been sitting on 1270 all week and 603, some of you maybe even all week, listening for stations. And so we'll talk about that. We're going to wrap up the results from week 6 when we were on 1500 to 1550 because you guys you brought it that week. And we're obviously going to announce our new week as well for week 8, which I can't believe we're already here at week 8. So hopefully we've had a great week. I was saying earlier you couldn't hear me, obviously. But I saw some of you also doing some FM DX as well, some Tropo and some Meteor Scatter. So we're actually going to try to do a little bit of that here pretty soon. And I know I've said many times in the past that we don't really live stream the FM DX because they usually play current music that is a golden ticket for a copyright strike on your YouTube channel. But I'm going to try. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this simulcast on multiple platforms, is to try out some different platforms as well, just in case we can't do the YouTube thing. But I've thought of a technique I may try here for some FMDX to do a live stream on some FM. We'll see how it goes next time we do a session. We'll give it a shot, and if it goes bonkers, then it goes bonkers. All right. So if you have any, and that by the way, as you guys know, I got dog hair all over me. Any new logs, any new countries, any new states, and on any frequency, we've got, let's see, this week I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new ones here this week. I'm inching closer to 600 stations here in Mandeville, 587 now. I only need 5 more, and I'll match my total from Charleston that I did in those 6 years I was there. And I've only been here for a little over, doing a DX, a little over a year and a month now, I guess. All right, so let us know in the chat what you've been hearing, if you have any new stuff, and whether you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter. We've got all 4 platforms now simulcast, and I can see all your chats over here. So hit us up in the comments or in the chat and let us know what you've been hearing, and we'll be sure to give you that shout out. You can see we've got some storms off to our west, so I'm sure we're going to hear some lightning crashes. I did move my CAS, or my Superloop rather, to a eastern configuration to try to move away from that a little bit. We're also pointing southeast on the northwest southeast CAS to move away from it a little bit and get a different look than we have been getting. We also still do have our W6 LVP twin loops up right now as well. We'll look at those. All right, so let us do our usual tour of the shack. We're going to get a live DX hour started here. This hour brought to you by NationalRadioClub.org. National Radio Club, the oldest DX club in the world, actually. Starting in 1933, still going strong. NationalRadioClub.org is your website for more information about becoming a member, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. All right, so we've got our Jaguar software here with our Perseus SDR, and we're running 2 antennas. We are running our southeastern kHz at 125 degrees. We've got our east-facing Superloop at 105 degrees. We've also got our W6 LVP twin loops up right now on the Elad FDMS3, and those are sitting at 12 feet on a TV rotor. Right now it's pointing at 140 degrees on one side, and I guess that means it's 320 on the other. So northwest southeast right now is what we're looking at on the loop. So let's start with the Jaguar and the Perseus, and guess what, guys? It's already go time. Top of the hour alert time as we look for some IDs here at the top of the hour, starting with the Jaguar and the Perseus, and let's see what we hear. There's a big shocker. So that's KFLC in Dallas, Texas there with their sports in Espanol on the East Superloop. So yeah, that this one is the East. And here is southeast. This is southeast. I'm going to try to dial in some vactrol here to get rid of Dallas if I can. I can probably get rid of them, but what else is going to be there? We've heard 4 this week on 1270. Woohoo! Bill says we're good on Twitch. All right. And he said that from Twitch. Sounds like just about the only thing we got here is Tejas. And we're good on Facebook, as Bill lets us know from Facebook. Awesome. Awesome. So I null out KFLC and I don't hear anything replacing them. So there's the ID. And let's swing over to our Elad FDMS3 and see what we got over here. More of the same. Hey, Alan.
That's new. All right. Yeah. XGO. It says 58 watts. Do we believe it? I'll drop the Google form link here in the chat for those still needing to submit entries. Let me turn that down. See, I'll put the here's the Google form link for everybody. That way, if you need to still submit some entries, you have till about the next top of the hour here or so to do that. That's a new one for us, though. WXGO in Madison, Indiana. Did not have them already, so very awesome. And that is on the that was on the W6LVP loop, guys, at 50 degrees. And I didn't hear that on my my east-facing Superloop. So there you go. Mileage on that one. Let me, I'm gonna go to lower sideband here. Not much better. So that's been part of my problem, is I'm sandwiched in between a station from Baton Rouge and a station in New Orleans. On Baton Rouge 1260, New Orleans 1280, so that's been fun. Elad FDMS3 and a W6 LVP loop. All right, let's go back over here. We'll go back on the chat. I've got something from Bill from earlier in the week. We've got Keegan in there with a new one. Who else heard some new ones? Was that, Barry, was that CBC a new one for you? We got Dave. 1260 KRTC. Nice. In New Mexico. That's awesome, man. I can't remember, did you say that was a new state for you in New Mexico? John's got some new ones. 2 new. Plus 2 TIS. Awesome. Yeah, get those on the challenge log. Carl got a new state. All right, nice. WDEL, that was always my my target when I was East Coast. And then Carl J with Montana, KJJR, nice. We're going to do our official shout-outs here in a minute. Barry got a new... Alright. Yeah, I got you on there, Bill, with the new one for New Mexico. Coaster's got a new one from Cali. Ooh, you guys are doing great. We're gonna have a whole bunch of logs for the fire here in a little bit. I did not. What frequency was the Colombian, Barry? Was it here? On 1270? Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't hear the Colombian here on 1270. Now I wish I would have thrown my antenna southeast a long time ago this week. Try and get for him. John, I may have an idea for you on that one. It's the same one that Bill heard. May have an idea for New Mexico for you. Uh, 720 KDWN, isn't that the call sign? Or KWDN? I can't remember. It's 720 less. That's the one I'm shooting for Nevada. All right, we're coming out of top of the hour time here. So let's go back to our natural blue. Yeah, it's let me put it up here on the screen. It's 720 KDWN. I think that's the one you probably have the best shot at. It's kind of close to your line here as far as being kind of along the same lat line. KDWN 50K. So yeah, sunset and then maybe even check sunrise before some of this East Coast stuff starts to get going. If you can get rid of WGN, that's what I would shoot for. It's one that I'm absolutely hunting from here. Just trying like crazy to hear him during the gray line. All right, and I've got if you're looking for him, also go up to my Lake Forest playlist where you can just search for the actual for KDWN on the YouTube channel. I've got a air check that I grabbed from Lake Forest that might help if you're wanting to know what to listen for. Go give them a shot. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get back into it. We've got results from week 6 of the medium wave frequency challenge to look at from 1500 to 1550. We're going to recap KSEN from Montana and KJJR Montana DX tests. We're going to dive more into 1270 here with some more live DX. We're going to announce our week 8 frequencies, which I think you guys are going to like. So we've got so much to get to tonight. And so we'll be right back. So stay tuned with us here, my friends. DX Central Live is just getting started.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana, Lloyd Van Horn here with you on a very beautiful Friday night. The chill is starting to return to the air. We've got some storms to our west, which means we've got a cold front on the way. So hopefully some cooler weather, which always to me just means DX weather, right? As soon as it starts getting a little cooler, you get that fall smell in the air. I just get the itch to go out and start DXing. So hopefully we get a little bit of that this week, because all this warm, muggy November weather has been hasn't been very conducive for DX. So all right, so we've got some shout outs to get to here in a few moments, but before we do that, let's do a look back to week 6 of our medium wave frequency challenge. We were DXing 1500 to 1550 last week, and you guys absolutely brought it. We have a new record that was broken this week, and so we'll talk about that here in a bit. But first, let's roll that beautiful results footage. All right, so congratulations to Barry, our top dog of the week, and all of our DXers for just an amazing week in the Frequency Challenge. 1500 to 1550 produced some of the best results we've ever seen. Barry, by the way, just broke the record for most stations logged in a single week submitted through the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge with those 54. I think the previous record was 46. I have it written down over here. I think it was 46. I think it was expanded band week. It was 44. Right? Yeah, I think it was 44. And it was Rob the week we did the expanded band last year, which we may have to do that one again because that was a lot of fun. So this is a new record this year for all-time most logs submitted in a single week. And also a record this week for most countries heard in a single week. Our buddy Jim Renfrew, went up to Newfoundland. I want to show you guys exactly what Jim actually did here, because it's pretty remarkable. So I'll have the blog post up here in a bit that'll have all the results and all that on there. But let me just let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see it a bit better. So this is the list of countries. We had 17 different countries that were heard. Most of these, you see a couple here where it's like Bahamas. A couple of you guys heard Bahamas. Obviously Canada, Colombia, Ecuador, some of those. Algeria, that was Jim. Brazil, he had 4 Brazilians, including our mileage record for the week, which fell a little short of the overall record that we have for mileage, but it was still pretty close, actually. He had Egypt in there, Iran, Moldova, Romania, Sao Tome, which we also had our DXer friend Paul over in the UK also heard Sao Tome. Spain, UK, just unbelievable what Jim was able to hear that week from up there in Newfoundland. He had a couple of beverages strung up and just hit the world hard with some great DX. So congrats to all of you, my friends. What a great week. Like I said, we'll have the blog post up here around the top of the hour that will have the link for the results highlight video, and our link for the new frequency of the week, which we'll be announcing a little bit later on. All right. Hey, Earl, welcome to the fun, my friend. Let's get to some shout outs here, because I want to go ahead and do our first round of those. And if we miss you, if you have some shout outs, some new logs, new states, new countries that you want us to get you in a shout out for, let us know over in the chat. We'll be sure to get you in there as well. But let's start our first round. Let's start with some new logs. So starting off with new logs, we have our friend Keegan in Arkansas with KYW for the first time. Congratulations, Keegan. Woohoo! Let's get our friend John. John had 2 new stations and 2 new TISs, which we're going to look at that here in a little bit for our TIS Heart Challenge. Congratulations, John. Let's take a look next. We've got, we're going to hold on to that one. Carl J, rather. KJJR Montana. That was a new one. I couldn't tell. I'm not sure if you got that as a new state, but we'll definitely get you a new log. And if it's a new state, let me know. We'll get you one of those as well. So new log for Carl, KJJR, DX test. We'll get to talk about that one here in a minute. Jim's over on Facebook and let us know that some other DXers, Gene Burnell, Chuck Houghton, John Fisher, Bill Nolman, and Bill Whitaker were there the previous week. The total stay at the Newfoundland site was looks like October 16th through the 31st. So some amazing DX to be had up in Newfoundland. That's on my list, is to go up into Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, New England, way up there, neck of the woods, and see what I can hear sometime. Even if it's just a portable radio on the beach, I'm sure the DX is going to be amazing, because you guys always hear amazing stuff. Barry, amongst all the other stuff that he's been doing here, Columbia and WCBC. Columbia, he was on 1270, and WCBC up in Maryland on 540 for a new one. So thank you, Barry, and good congratulations. Nice one, Les. Yeah, we'll have plenty of vlogs to keep us warm by the fire this year, it looks like. So Alan Sykes Georgia, KFLC Dallas on 1270 got him a new one. Yeah, Charles, I think it's I think the reason is you know, I'm a firm believer that those poles attract DX. So the closer you are to the poles, it's just getting sucked in that direction because of the magnetic pull. Let's do some new states here. We've got our friend Carl DeWitt got a new state with Delaware, WDEL. Congratulations, my friend. Woohoo! Bill Curry, our moderator extraordinaire, keeps the band hammer on all those naughty sites from getting in here. New state for him, New Mexico, KCKN 1020. Congratulations. Woohoo! Nice. And I'm assuming this was a new state, Coaster. If not, I apologize. We'll still give you a shout out. He logged a new one from California. I'm assuming that's a new state for you, though, but at the very least, a new log. So, congratulations, Coaster. Woohoo! All right, congratulations to all of you fine DXers out there hearing new stuff. If I missed you, don't worry. We're going to do another round of these a little bit later on, and I'll share with you what I heard this week, because I heard now 9 new stations in the last 7 days or so. No new states or anything exotic, but a couple of new ones here that I didn't have in the logbook before, including a couple that I had been looking for a while. So that's always fun to be able to do. All right, let's So yeah, if you have a new log, new state, new country, let us know in the chat. We'll be more than happy to give you a shout out. And we appreciate you guys. I know there's a couple of you watching on Facebook. We've got some folks over on our Twitch channel as well watching, and then quite a few over here on YouTube. And looks like we don't have anybody right now on Twitter. I was hoping that maybe Twitter might get us some views here. We are currently simulcasting on all 4 platforms. We did a sign up today for Restream, so we could do this and simulcast, so that no matter which platform you prefer, you have a shot at watching our live stream and having access to it after the fact as well. So twitter.com/DXCentral, and here on YouTube, youtube.com/C/DXCentral, facebook.com/DXCentral online, and twitch.tv/DXCentral. Those are our URLs for all of our various platforms that we are now on here. So would love it if you guys watching give us a thumbs up on the video, give us a like, leave us a comment. Definitely join us in the chat and let us know what you're hearing as well. Also, I want to make sure we mention a couple other things. So I mentioned Twitter, twitter.com/DXCentral. We'll be doing our DXC tweet of the week in a bit. So if you have any last-minute nominations of an AM or FM DX-related tweet that you think should be our DXC tweet of the week, please let us know. And don't forget about our website. It's also here, dxcentralonline.com. And with that, you'll see our blog posts that have all of our announcements for our new medium wave frequency challenge frequencies, and the raw data and the highlight videos that go with the previous weeks. Anytime there's a DX test, we announce stuff there. And we have a ton of resources for DXers, new and old. So if you're watching us on Twitch or on Facebook or whatever, maybe you're a new DXer, maybe you're not familiar with all this stuff that we're talking about here and all the things that we're doing. So definitely check our website out, dxcentralonline.com. And we have a lot of great tools there for beginners. So you can check out, here, I'll pull up the website address here. Boop. So you can pull up and see, we have a DX 101 section up here. So you can see all the really cool stuff on, you know, the commonly used terms, commonly used abbreviations, getting started in DXing, and then there's an FAQ. We have equipment reviews. We have an AMDX section. We also have an FMDX section as well if you're interested in FMDX. But we have an AMDX section where you can go in and see information on how to get started. There's a blank logbook that you can use as a starting point. We've got what to listen for with examples. We also have a propagation page. We have this for both AM and FM. We have a propagation page that explains how AM radio signals propagate. This case, we have ground wave here with the ground conductivity maps. We have samples as well of ground wave signals. You've got skywave stuff here. You've got sunset, sunrise, and more. So definitely check out our website, DX Central Online. Oh, there's also a gear page as well here that goes into some recommendations for various pieces of gear that you can use for AM and FM DX. So definitely check it out, dxcentralonline.com. Again, whether you're a brand new DXer or not, and if you are a new DXer, what I recommend that you probably start with is when you get to the page, go over here and click on this beginner button right here, this nice shiny green beginner start here button. That brings you to DX 101, and you can see all the different things that are here for you. Also, here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/DX Central, we have DX 101 videos where we teach folks. I wasn't showing, was I? I thought I was. I thought I hit the button. So let me do this again. Here's the DX 101 section. So here's that big, beautiful green beginner button right here. So you can hit that. And then all the DX 101 stuff. And then when you go in, here's the AMDX section with the basics, where to start, what to listen for, the blank logbook you can use, all that kind of stuff. Propagation here, where we talk about the ground wave and the conductivity maps and skywave and sunset, sunrise, all that stuff, and the gear page as well. So lots of information here for AM and FM DXers. And we have our band scans up here where we post our band scans from when we go on trips. You can see our Lake Forest band scan is here. I'm working on the Omaha one right now to do the full write-up and all the analysis for that. So definitely bookmark this one and keep it on your frequently visited list to see what we might add. You can also subscribe to the website as well to be notified when we do make updates. All right, Barry says 1270.029 Columbia carrier starting to come up. Well, tell you what, let's see what we have. Let me go to my CAS, my Southeast CAS. And so with that, it said it was HJAR, right? Let me see which one that is. Oops. That would be this one. La Cadernosa in Cartagena. Right there on the, right on the water. All right. It's at 142 degrees, and I'm pointing 125. So that should be within our beam width of that CAS antenna. I don't see anything coming in just yet at that, what was it, 0291? It would be somewhere in here. Maybe that's it right there. That might be it. Starting to come in a little bit. Let's take a look. And go. I'm guessing now the hard part with that one is I have to go to upper sideband, right, to get rid of any slop from 1270. But when I do, I have slop now from 1280, my local. So that's a tough thing to kind of get around, but we'll get around. I'm guessing the Spanish station we're hearing is Dallas, though. Yeah, that slop from 1280 is pretty harsh. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one. Let me see if I can dial in with that vactrol a little bit. Get a good signal out of it. My display doesn't look like it's moving. It's not refreshing. Let's shut that. Bring it back up again. Take care, Les. Have fun, my friend.
Gusto a Doris Mesa. Doris, qué gusto tenerte. Una gran final más en la señal de TUN Radio. Y esta pinta, no solo para el ambiente, no solo por los equipos, por muchas cosas que engloban, pinta para ser la mejor final en la historia del fútbol mexicano femenil. ¿Cómo es?
Así es, Jorge, un gusto estar con ustedes.
I wonder if that music in the background underneath what I think is Dallas, the guy up front talking. I hear some music behind that sounds Spanish. I wonder if that's Colombia.
Lo han hecho muy bien durante el torneo. Como bien comentaba Andrea, Tigres tiene 8 finales y América 2 finales, ¿no? De las cuales solamente América ha sido campeón una vez de esta liga. Pero sin duda el día de hoy viene con refuerzos, con jugadoras extranjeras, jugadoras también mexicanas como Alison González y Michelle González, que también están reforzando esta escuadra del América. Y será un partido lleno de emociones. Así es, sold out en el Azteca.
Right about there.
¿Hace cuánto que no vamos al Azteca?
A reventar, ¿no? Sí, vamos, al final de cuentas, y lo platicábamos, este es el América que sí llegó a la final. Este es el América que cumplió, que reestructuró, que trajo nuevo técnico y que llegó a la gran final en su primer torneo. Ángel Villacampa también como la entrenadora Carolina Moscato, las dos o los dos en su primer torneo.
Come on.
Vamos a escuchar justamente a los dirigentes, a los entrenadores de este partido. Primero, Ángel Villacampa, el octavo que habla acerca de esta gran final. Están confiadas en que en casa van a poder conseguir.
Take care, Jim. Have fun up there, my friend. Best of DX to you. Let's see what to listen for. I'm going to pull their stream up here. I'll put it on screen too. Let's do this. No, that's not what I'm asking for. a.m. Colombia. Let's take a look. There's Colombia. There's the stream. So let's see what we can listen for here.
En Bucaramanga le reconstruimos la vida y el hogar.
Okay. That signal's pretty decent. Let me swap back over here. Let's go back over here and...
perdidos con 37 goles a favor y 16 en contra. Buenos números, definitivamente. Pero antes de analizarlo, vamos a escuchar también a la entrenadora de Tigres, que también en su primer torneo termina por llevarlas a la gran final. Carmelina Moscato, aquí escuchamos las palabras de la estratega de Tigres, contenta también por esta gran final.
They may be in there very weak. All right, let's see.
Creo que el mejor equipo ganará. Del día, los dos equipos hemos construido una gran temporada, por eso estamos en la final. América es un gran equipo y
if they're in there, they're weak.
Estoy emocionada por el reto, respetamos muchísimo al equipo y a las jugadoras, veremos una final intensa.
It might be them. I'm hearing. It sounds like that bass line is what I'm hearing. Let me go back. Well, now KFLC has music. That orange, that's a little orange and red. That's a decent signal if that's them. Okay, I think that did it right there. Yep, I think that's them. Side note, look at all these offsets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably a bunch in there, but we'll call that 6, 7. We'll call that 8 right there. 9, 10, 11. Just in this one little slice right here, we have all those offsets. That's pretty crazy. Okay, let's go back into our stream and see what they're playing. All right. I'm definitely leaning in that direction. Look at Earl. There's my pen. Let's go back to the stream again. Let me go back. I'm definitely leaning to, I hear a station that's in there that sounds very similar to what I'm hearing on the stream. I don't hear enough to be able to slam dunk it and say that's them, but I feel like that's a pretty close. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it as we go through here the rest of tonight, and keep an eye on this one to see if maybe they might come up enough where I can pull enough audio out to be able to parallel it. And I'd love to add that to the log. That's you guys know Latin America is my thing, right? When it comes to AMDX, Latin American stations just are what I'm all about. Latin American out west, Western U.S. That's what I'm all about. So I'll keep an eye on that. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish this hour, and we'll get ready for our next hour of Live DX. And in that, we're going to be checking out our new frequencies of the week. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more DX Central Live right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor Member Bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Yeah! I guess I'm in the mood for some Latin DX right there, right? Hopefully we can use that energy to get Columbia in the logbook tonight over here on 1270. It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana. Thank you, as always, for joining us. And no matter which platform you're on, if you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter, we appreciate you joining us this evening and being part of the fun. So we're sitting on 1270 right now, and we're going to finish up here our week 7 of the medium wave frequency challenge. So you still have got about 10-15 minutes or so to get your logs in if you have logs to submit for this week. And then here in a few moments, we're going to be announcing our new frequencies of the week, so we can start looking at that. I did want to take a second, though. So this hour of DX has been brought to you by the National Radio Club. And you kind of saw the ad there that we had, but I wanted to kind of talk a bit about the NRC and the, you know, the benefit of being a member of the National Radio Club, especially because we have some, may have some newer folks watching us tonight, either on Twitch or Twitter or whatever it might be. So if you're new to this DX thing and you're trying to figure it out or understand what it's all about, things like that, make sure you check out the clubs. We'll talk about the other club, the International Radio Club of America, IRCA, here in a bit. But the NRC, let me do one thing really quick. La 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 la. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay. We're going to talk about the IRCA next, but the NRC, and it's nationalradioclub.org. Make sure you check out membership here. It's super cheap. You can get the electronic version of the regular DX News Bulletin. You can also get a print version if you'd rather do that. They have the very famous NRC AM radio log, now in its 43rd edition, that has all of the U.S. and Canadian stations listed on each frequency with information on power, pattern, antenna pattern, networks, format, all kinds of stuff. Any FM parallels, things along those lines, slogans they may use and whatnot. So definitely get a copy of that, because that's going to be an invaluable resource for you as you go through the DX season. And then as far as the actual the membership, it goes, when you become a member, you get this regular DX bulletin that comes out right now every 2 weeks or so. And in there, if there are any updates to the information for that logbook, you have those updates available to you. So you can say, okay, this one's changed call letters. This one's now went from sports to now classic hits, or whatever it might be. So, and there's a lot of other great information that you can get from the NRC technical guides, antenna books, all kinds of great stuff. So definitely check it out, nationalradioclub.org. Make sure you are a member. If you are into DXing or trying to get into DXing and this whole AM radio stuff, make sure that you join in and be a part of the fun, because I've been off and on a little bit because I had some years in college where I wasn't a member. I wasn't DXing, but basically since 93, have been a member of the NRC for the most part, and I find it to be invaluable. You look at the things that the logs other people are hearing, you can use that for a target list. Okay, hey, so-and-so doesn't live too far from me. Maybe I can try to hear that station, that kind of thing. All right. Let's go over here to our Perseus and Jaguar software here. We're chasing Columbia right now to see if we can hear them. We're getting close to a top of the hour alert here in the next moment or so. We'll get ready to announce our new frequencies of the week for week 8 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. But first, let's give one more shot to see if we can pull Columbia in here. We're tightening down on this offset at around 1270.02994, 95, somewhere in there. Let's see if we can pull them out of the weeds. Here's their live stream. Let's see what their live stream is. Oh, that's them. That's them. Yeah. There's no doubt about that one, baby. Yeah! I mean, that's... And now you can actually see the little spike over here on the Jaguar here, right? That signal's come way up, so that's a thing of beauty right there, my friends. Thank you, Barry, for the tip on that one. Added a new Colombian to the log on 1270 because of a tip from our friend Barry Bankston. Thank you, my friend. This is why we do this, so we can all do this together. So, my friends, if you don't have Columbia on 1270, if you have an antenna that you can point in that direction, either a loop or whatever, swing it towards 1270, and in your SDR, if you're using one, look for something around 029-ish, 91, 94, 95, somewhere in there, and tighten and put in the upper sideband and tighten in that filter down a little bit so you can get rid of all the stuff around it and see if you can get it. Woohoo! Nicely done, guys. That's teamwork. That's what I like to see. Let's do this. It's 12:52. It's time to announce our new medium wave frequency challenge frequencies of the week. So let's go. Yeah. 790 to 801. So this incorporates 4 different channels, essentially. We've got 790 here in the U.S. We got 792 overseas. We've got 800 in the U.S. and Caribbean, North and South America. And we've got 801 overseas, Europe and Asia and Africa and elsewhere. So 790 to 801 is where we're going to be looking tonight. Now, I do have a local here on 800, so we're going to start right now on 790 and see what we might have on 790 to get us started. So let's go.
La conferencia tuvo como tema principal la sociedad del cuidado, horizonte para una recuperación sostenible con igualdad.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about here in a minute after we get done with the top of the hour. We're going to talk about, actually, we can do it now because we have a few minutes. So what are we looking at here? Let me start with 790 here in the U.S. You hear it right now automatically. You can hear how loud they are. Radio Relais and Cuba. You're listening for the clicks. You're listening for the top of the minute tone. You're listening for the RR and Morse code. And if you're close enough, you even get to hear this, the Spanish news reading. Okay, so that's one that a lot of you should be able to hear. I saw somebody mentioning Venezuela. I don't know if they're still on the air because honestly, I'm just not sure the status of a lot of these stations down in Venezuela these days with their economic problems that they're having. But this one is labeled as a 50K station. So Radio Minuto AM in Barquisimeto in Venezuela, 50K station. That could be an option. Again, I don't know their status, but you may give that one a shot and see if you can pull them in. I know here in the States, WMC in Memphis gets out very, very well. KFYO, when I was in Omaha, I had KFYO up there, so I know they get out there from Lubbock pretty well. KABC in LA, I know they get out pretty well. I think KSPD is another one that, even though it's 1K, I've seen a lot of people mention it in logs. KFGO up here in Fargo on 790, 5K station, they get out fairly well. I know, Justin, you're probably going to be filled with them here this week, among some others potentially. Let me think of it back to ETB here in Johnson City gets out fairly well. QXI in Atlanta, TSK here in Tuscaloosa, Waxy down here in Miami, they get out fairly well. WNIS there in Norfolk, they get out pretty well. And then I don't know what you guys probably are hearing up here in the Northeast, if it's Providence or if it's probably Providence, I'm guessing, maybe in the Northeast New England states. I'm just not familiar enough. Haven't spent any time up there. So yeah, I think we've got, and then obviously there's a lot of other stuff in here. So let me know what you usually hear on 790 in the chat. And we'll see if that matches up. Really quick before we go to top of the hour alert, 800, the big one, the big prize here, Trans World Radio, Bonaire. That's the big one. There's also an RCN outlet here in Columbia that's 100 kilowatts. So you can shoot for both of those, especially when TWR Bonaire is not in process of transmitting, when they are off of schedule. There's some stuff down here in Mexico. We've got CKLW up in Windsor. What's another one that I've heard quite a bit? Trying to remember who the other ones are. We got one here to be SHO here in New Orleans. So there's CJAD, I know, up in Quebec. I think a lot of you guys hear that one as well. CHAB maybe up here in Saskatchewan might be a target. Well, again, let us know what you typically hear on these frequencies, 790, 800, and then also the two 9K split frequencies. It is go time though, my friends. Let's go top of the hour alert. And now. All right, let's pull it up here on the old Perseus kHz combo. Let's go.
Se recepcionan envíos para los clientes locales, se realiza el pesaje para su posterior entrega a domicilio por un costo de $10. El servicio es único en la provincia y con el objetivo de acelerar todo el proceso. La meta de entrega es de 5 días desde la recepción del bulto. El compromiso y la prontitud son fundamentales en esa prestación. Subrayo. Radio reloj. 8:58 minutos. Cubanos al frente en campeonato americano de tiro deportivo. El cubano Jorge Félix Álvarez, medallista de bronce en la Copa del Mundo en Múnich en 2018, lideró hoy la primera fase clasificatoria en la pistola de fuego rápido a 25 metros en el Campeonato Panamericano de Tiro Deportivo con sede en Lima, Perú. Álvarez, monarca en la cita multideportiva continental de 2019, acumuló 292 puntos en las 3 series de disparos para completar una buena fase Rafael en la jornada inicial de esa prueba. Su compañero Alejandro Delgado lo escoltó con esa ronda inicial y con ese accionar los pistoleros de Cuba irán mañana con misiones de incluirse en los Hasta el momento, los tiradores cubanos han conquistado 2 metales dorados, 1 de plata y 2 de bronce en ese torneo continental, además de 8 boletos a los Juegos Panamericanos de Santiago de Chile 2023. Radio Reloj, informativa por excelencia, 8:59 minutos. Presente empresa matancera en Feria Internacional de La Habana. La empresa agroindustrial Victoria de Girón, que encabeza el polo exportador en Matanzas, será una de las representantes de esa región en la 38ª Feria Internacional de La Habana, FIAP 2022, los días 14 y 18 venideros. Alufka López, jefa del Departamento de Cooperación Internacional, Comercio Exterior e Inversión Extranjera en el territorio, declaró que el evento será una oportunidad para visibilizar productos y servicios de la occidental localidad. La Victoria de Girón basa sus resultados en la diversificación de producciones y su venta, en la cual se involucran entidades estatales y formas privadas de la economía. López Reyes anunció que también participarán en la feria la Empresa Nacional de Silos, radicada en la provincia, y la Empresa Universal de Matanzas, con vistas a establecer futuros acuerdos comerciales con otras entidades del país. Radio Reloj. Exactamente 9 de la noche. En el año 64 de la Revolución, desde La Habana, Cuba, transmite Radio Reloj, el canal de información continua más antiguo del mundo. Hoy es viernes 11 de noviembre de 2022. En 1940 se funda la emisora Radio Cadena Habana. Locutores: Sonia Suárez, José Luis Piña y Marco Ramírez Luranza. A continuación, hoy es viernes 11 de noviembre de 2022. En 1940 se funda la emisora Radio Cadena Habana. Locutores: Sonia Suárez, José Luis Piña, hacia Nicaragua. Finalizó en La Habana sexta conferencia de cooperación internacional de Estados del Caribe. Los titulares pronostica metodología para este sábado calor y algunas lluvias en centro y oriente. Programa de innovación agropecuaria local aporta al sistema de gestión de gobierno basado en la ciencia. Desarrollarán en Varadero el 22º Congreso Científico Internacional de Ciencias Agrícolas. Precios internacionales de azúcar crudo y de refino cerraron la semana con ganancias en Nueva York y Londres. Coordina la Comisión Nacional de Seguridad Vial acciones dirigidas a la prevención de accidentes del tránsito. En Villa Clara realizan jornada de celebraciones por el aniversario.
All right, so that's 790. So we had, obviously we have Radio Reloj there on top because we are on our southeast facing cast, so it's pointing right at Cuba. Actually, I'm at 125 and they are at 142, so it's right off the side of them, but pretty much right in here is where it's usually pointing. We also have a sports station there. I'm 99% sure that's KBME here in Houston. I think that's what I heard the ID under Reloj. I think I heard a KBME as the ID there. So those are the first two that we've got here so far. Let's go back and see what we caught at 800 here. If it was just our local or whatever it might have been.
There are there's an abortion clinic, medical center, an abortion clinic on the first floor, and she's in the third floor of pregnancy.
Continúa escuchando que brille 800 AM, transmitiendo desde Bonaire en el Caribe holandés para toda Latinoamérica y el Caribe.
Is that TWR? It sounds like them.
800 AM, transmitiendo desde Bonaire en el Caribe holandés para toda Latinoamérica y el Caribe.
Already come in with their ultrasound. Sometimes they will send women up to the pregnancy center to get their ultrasound for free.
Mundial
And I guess they haven't figured out
Yeah.
that these women, most of them don't come back
Nuestro
down.
Hogar, un programa de consejería bíblica para toda la familia.
Anyway, so my friend Lynn.
Over top of my local. That's how strong they are. And again, I'm on the southeast wire at 125 degrees. They're at 127. So I'm pointing right at TWR. Almost directly at them.
One day, and this woman walked in, and she put her hand up in Linda's face, and she said, I don't want to hear about your God. I don't want to.
And there's pretty much nothing between me and them except maybe a little bit of Cuba right there, right? But there's a whole lot of salt water in between us there. So, yeah.
Religion. I just want you to do my ultrasound, give me the picture, so I can walk back down and have my own, or have my abortion. And Linda was like, whoa, okay. So she has her do the paperwork, takes her back to the room, and Linda's doing the ultrasound.
And I'm guessing this talk station with the female here on top is probably my local.
Saber cómo esta emisora ha impactado su vida. Hola, estás escuchando kHz 800 AM. Soy Ana Bento de Alba y me encantaría saber de ti, especialmente saber cómo esta emisora ha impactado su vida.
La Biblia, para toda Cuba y para todo el mundo, aquí en el Faro de Redención.
Damos gracias a todos los que apoyan a este ministerio.
Sus oraciones. To see things from the other's perspective and to make sure that God is centered in our marriage.
I'm Jim Bailey. Together we can give families hope. Donate at focusonthefamily.com/family. And your gift. Soy el pastor Daniel Warren. Te invito a que me acompañes la próxima semana para seguir viendo a Cristo en su palabra. La luz de Cristo desde toda la Biblia, para toda Cuba y para todo el mundo, aquí en el Faro de Redención.
Hola, estás escuchando kHz 800 AM. Soy Ana Bento de Alba y me encantaría saber de ti, especialmente saber cómo esta emisora ha impactado tu vida. Cuéntanos tu historia. Escríbenos a nuestro correo electrónico
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's probably, and they didn't ID, which doesn't surprise me. I'm pretty sure that station there where they had the talk in English was my local WSHO here in New Orleans. And we obviously know that the Spanish station was Trans World Radio Bonaire with their enormous transmitter that my antenna is pointing right at. I could probably actually even dial them in a little bit better with the vactrol and get rid of New Orleans even more. By doing that. I just posted the new form in the Google form in the chat over here, and also if you go to our website dxcentralonline.com and then scroll down from the beginning, the first page there, the new blog post is up. I just double checked it, it's there. Then that has the video highlight, the highlight video rather from week 6, the raw data from week 6, and our new Google form for week 8 for 790 and 801. So that is now up on the website. We'll be posting that here in a few moments to social media, Twitter, Facebook, and so forth. So make sure that you check that out and start getting those logs in for week 8 here of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. So I've got 4. I need at least 3 that I need to throw in there myself to get us started. So let's get this hour of live DX going, my friends. This one's gonna be brought to you by the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org is the website for more information about becoming a member of the International Radio Club of America, and I hope that you do. They've got, we talked about the NRC last hour here. They, at the IRCA, also have a regular bulletin that comes out, the DX Monitor, that has log station updates and a whole lot more, so make sure you join in. And check out the bookstore as well. There's some really great publications, including some stuff that I think is going to be very helpful for you guys for some of the things that we're doing. You've got your 2022-23 Mexican log. Our friend Tim Hall is a big part of this whole thing getting together, using his expertise of stations down in Mexico. And there's a lot of information here, not just a station list, but there's also information on how to kind of decode what you're hearing when it comes to things like the national anthem, if there's a state anthem played, things along those lines. There's a slogan list here as well, and the TIS HAR station list. That way, if you are participating in our TIS HAR challenge, which you can also find on our website here, if you go to the more area and then click on the TIS Hard Challenge. You'll see all of the information here, including the form for submitting entries. We have the link here for the free TIS Hard list. We have our YouTube playlist. So if you grab a air check of a TIS or HAR station, upload that sucker to YouTube, send me that YouTube link, and I'll add your air check to our master challenge playlist here that has mine and anyone else's that hears a TIS station and submits their air check they upload to YouTube. It has to be on YouTube. That's the only stipulation. You have to upload it to YouTube. But if you get that up on YouTube, send me over the link and I'll add that to our playlist so that we can all hear what these things sound like, no matter where you may be. So we are doing that TIS Hard Challenge now through the end of the season, which will be TBD as far as the actual date, but sometime this spring. All right, we have 19 now. 19 submissions now. We have, including our first rovers, we have 8 rover logs. So awesome. Let's take a look and see now some of our stats here, which you guys can also see whenever you submit these. You can also see these logs. So we've got Steve McDonald, our friend up in British Columbia, has added in 4. I'm guessing he's that rover. We've got our friend John here in the chat with, looks like 13. John, you have 13 TISs now? My goodness, man, you are killing it. So you guys are behind. You got to get over here and get in on the action. Tune your radios to 1610, 530, 1710, 1700. There's some that are even in between on some of the regular frequencies. Get that TIS list from the IRCA and find some of those stations that are near you. And you do have 2 categories you can enter. There's a home category, so anything you logged from your home location. And if you're out on the road, maybe for the holidays, you're just driving around and you hear something, you can also submit submissions under the rover category as well. So you can do either or both. And I'm contemplating adding another category. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to or not. I'm contemplating adding a 3rd category for some other folks that DX a certain way. So, but yeah, free IRCA publications here. We've got the TIS HAR station slogans, Mexican log, and that's in addition to, for the members, getting a copy of the DX Monitor member bulletin. So make sure that you check that out. Let's go back over here now. Let's go to 790 here on our Elad FDMS3 with our twin W6 LVP loops and see what we're hearing here.
Right for Coach Ray saying good night, go out.
Which link wasn't working, Bill?
Rushing defense, he's going to rush for 100 yards. Daniel Jones under 33.5 rushing yards, I really like as well. They held Jalen Hurts to just 26 rushing yards. I think that they're going to be able to scheme against them. And like we said, the Texans give up a ton of rushing yards because of the scheme. Derrick Henry went for 220 yards a few weeks ago. They gave up 313 on the ground total. The least they've given up this year was the Chargers, but we know the Chargers have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. So, yeah, I think with the scheme that Houston wants to run, with the issues on the defense in terms of the Giants with losing Xavier McKinney and Aaron Robinson, I like the Houston Texans +3, and I like those props.
You mentioned the defensive injuries for the Giants. Offense, too. They're still missing Evan Neal. Daniel Bellinger's banged up. He's having a great year at tight end for them. Guys, think about what this line is telling you. The Giants are favored by 4.5 at home against the Texans.
Oh, that's moved down.
If this game was in Houston, Houston would be favored. Right. That's what this line is telling you. And imagine if Houston was favored against the Giants, how many people would be on the Giants in this game? So I think Houston's the right side. I think the line is telling you just the disrespect that they have for the Giants.
See if that does it.
The Texans are the side of +4.5. I'm not going to play it because the Texans are not good. And, the Giants could easily win this game by 6 or 7. I feel like the under. I think that's
see if that works.
I think both teams are going to struggle to score. Daniel Jones, we know historically, is just much better on the road than he is at home. David Mills, experience, we're seeing he could be the guy. I don't think that's going to work out for him. I like the under. Both teams are going to lean on their running backs. Giants coming off a bye. Texans coming off that Thursday game.
Sweet.
Against the
Thanks, guys.
So that's my play, is under 40.5.
I like that.
I like that too. Here's one where, I mean, I really like the Steelers +3, but then they obviously announced that TJ Watt's coming back for the first time in 7 weeks. We haven't seen him since week 1 when he absolutely dominated the Bengals, and it's down to 1.5. I think the Steelers are the side, but I don't want to do a pick with the Saints. The Saints, I can't figure them out, you know? They shut out the Raiders. Granted, it's the Raiders. Then they get beat. Andy Dalton, you never know what you're getting from him. You never know who's going to be out there. Michael Thomas is done for the year. Olave is the #1 wide receiver by default. 40 is the total. I have nothing on this game. What about you guys? Anything here?
Yeah, I like the Steelers. +105 on the money line.
But that's the only thing that I would do.
I like the fact that TJ Watt is back is so huge for Pittsburgh. When he's not in the lineup, they don't.
I don't want to hear them talking about my Saints because that's a sore subject. Remember, if you have not yet gotten your shout out yet for new logs, new states, new countries, make sure you let us know in the chat what you've heard, and we'll throw a shout out to you here in a little bit. I did get yours, Bates, Mike, your new ones that you got, Earl. I got yours as well in here, so I got you two for the next round that we're going to throw out some shout outs here. Earl and Bates, Mike, I got both of you in here. So anybody else, get your new stuff in.
This feels like a last chance for Andy Dalton to kind of keep the job over Jameis at quarterback. And like Mike Facilier said, the defense has been really what's been disappointing for this team. People thought the offense with the additions at receiver with Landry and Olave and Jameis being back healthy to start the season, O-line having some nice pieces, and then you bring in Tyrann Mathieu to go along with how great that defense was, but they aren't stopping enough teams. And remember, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season as an NFL head coach.
No.
And if
Mike, there you go. I didn't want to assume.
But if he wants to, he's got to win this game. I like the Steelers +105 on the money line.
Mike
I was
Bates.
thinking about in this
Gotcha,
game,
Mike.
Maybe going under, which I know it's scary because he's now pretty much the #2 wide receiver, is George Pickens. It's -120 to the over for his receiving yards, -110 to the under. Like, look at this matchup. I mean, he's going against the Saints. We'll see if Lattimore is going to play. Probably not, but I mean, Pickens,
No, he's not.
Getting one over this number the last 4 weeks. He didn't play last week. I mean, that seems a little high, 44.5.
I agree.
We'll come back. We got plenty more to get to. We're going to talk with Troy Clarity, Pac-12 Network, Compass Media. We'll talk some Pac-12 with him. BetMGM tonight continues next.
You're listening to BetMGM tonight, presented by BetMGM. Shakespeare, check out Chelsea and me on the Daily Tip, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern on the BetQL Network.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with...
This is probably Memphis, by the way, WMC.
First bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
I'm not sure who the second one underneath him is. Maybe Houston, but this is going to be Memphis more than likely.
See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona, 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas, 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghhelp.com. Louisiana, 1-877-770-STOP. New York, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee, Redline, 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia, 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Dancing crew, Tristan 2, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug. Brand new mug. Come here, kid. Give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. Boosters designed for COVID-19 variants are now available. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster appointment as soon as you're eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Where can you light up the tree and the savings? Lowe's, actually. Find deals on endless festive holiday decor, like 20% off on pre-lit artificial trees and endless gifts found only at Lowe's. Like the new Cobalt 257-piece mechanic tool set for $99.
Let's see what we're hearing back on the Perseus here.
Compass Media.
Can play each other, and it's unlikely that either one of them is going to lose another game. So they're probably going to do this thing to win.
Yeah, that's probably Houston.
Hawk Sports on the BetQL Network.
The top of the NFC stronger than the top of the AFC because now you can go like 40, right? I know the Packers have been extremely disappointing, and while
They have a great record, and be like, we will question the Vikings. And I'm looking at their matchup next week. I'm like, Tampa Bay, bring it, TB12, bring it. Nice win, cool story. You guys still stink. And Seattle's a no-doubter. The only thing that worried me about this game was everybody was saying the same thing. Why are the Seahawks underdogs at Arizona? And I just don't get it.
Yeah, that bet ID, because there's another BetQL CBS station. They're called The Score up in Providence, which technically, I mean, they're at 47 degrees from my location, and I'm pointing at 50 degrees on the Twin Loops here, but I'm not hearing Providence, Rhode Island here, guys. I wish.
I'm just sick of losing money on the NBA. I am donating money to the NBA.
I'd be very happy. So there's Memphis, and then over here on the Cavs with the Perseus. We've got Spanish Talk, which is Rouleau. We've got another sports talk, which I'm going to assume is probably KBME Houston.
And you've already mentioned the fact that Alabama kind of did that a few years ago. They didn't make it.
That's that station. I think that's probably Houston. We heard the beep there from Rouleau, which would have been followed by the Morse code. Let's do a quick break. When we come back, we have our DXC tweet of the week. We're going to do a wrap-up on last weekend's DX tests that came in, KJJR, KSE, and we're going to talk a bit about those. And we've got more shout-outs. So stay tuned, my friends. More DX Central Live right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AM/DXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
from the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. My friends, thank you so much for being part of the fun. We appreciate you being here. Every Friday night, we go live for live AMDX at 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 12:45 or 00:45 UTC. Now that we're in Standard Time, it's a little we've bumped away from an hour of UTC. Well, it was at 23:45. Now it's at 00:45 UTC, but still 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern, and 4:45 Pacific. So appreciate you guys being here. Let's talk a bit about this last weekend. So we had 2 DX tests this last weekend, both from the state of Montana. Our friend Todd Clark from Montana, the engineer up there for a handful of stations, and brought us some great opportunities to hear into Montana. This is the 3rd year in a row that KJJR there in Whitefish, Montana has been up for grabs. But we also this last week got KSEN on 1150. Now both DX tests were heard here in Mandeville, I almost said South and North Carolina, Mandeville, Louisiana. I'll get it out in a second. So both tests were heard here in Louisiana. I will say though, of those 2, KSEN was actually, I feel like, the louder. Now we did have a lot of static crashes on KJJR's night. Conditions weren't super great. And we had KJOZ over here in Texas playing music, which music is much harder to hear a DX test through than talk. And the last couple times that KJJR did a DX test, WCBS was the dominant station on frequency for me, and they were doing talk, so it was easy to hear things underneath that in between the pauses of speech. So you could hear some Morse code or tones or sweeps or whatever. Through music, it's a little harder to do. But we did hear them, so they were there, and then we did have a very nice reception of KSEN. I'll show you here in a second. And it happened. We heard them a little bit off and on throughout the night. It was never super strong, but I want to play you guys a little snippet here of, I uploaded a little bit to our YouTube channel here, youtube.com/c/DXCentral for those of you who are watching on Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook. We uploaded here to our YouTube channel a clip of what we did here, and I want to play you guys a snippet here. And the reason I want to is because I know a lot of folks will tune in and they'll listen for DX tests, maybe the first 10, 20, 30, 45 minutes or so. And then if they don't hear it, they kind of give up. Well, it's just not in the cards tonight, so I'm not going to be able to hear them. Troy, I know, is on the chat with us as well here watching the live stream. And I think you had the similar situation that I did. I thought I heard him a couple times over the course of the night, but at 0200 local time here, which was 0800 UTC, so 0200 local time, they faded up. And I managed to get not only some tones, I heard sweeps, and I heard the Morse code ID. I had heard some of the tones and maybe some sweeps earlier. I had not heard Morse code all night. So this is going to be, let me give you guys a little snippet here. This is our air check that we uploaded to YouTube. I'm going to play about the next, about a minute or so here of this air check that we grabbed that has some of the tones. You can actually see it on the waterfall there. You see right here we have these vertical lines. Those were some multi-spread tones. And then we had a single vertical line right here. That was the 1 kilohertz spread, or 1 kilohertz tone. And then we had another spread of tones here that was a little bit wider. So these were a little bit tighter in. I guess that would have been about 1K. It's probably 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and so forth. This would have been 1. This would have been 2. This would have been 3. So you can see the tones there on the waterfall. Of course, now we do have a local station, semi-local here on 1150 in WJBO in Baton Rouge, which was hitting pretty hard. We also have some stuff down on 1140 that was getting in pretty well. But let's take a listen here. This is after a night of, I think I kind of hear them. This is what I heard right before the DX test ended, and why I think it's important if you're doing a DX test to make sure you don't skimp out. If you aren't hearing them earlier, don't give up. Here you go. I'll pause it right there. You can actually see now those sweeps here on the waterfall. You can see that diagonal line coming down like that. That's that limiter sweep where it's in this kind of the steps like that. You also have a different kind of sweep that's more boop, boop. And instead of looking like a vertical diagonal line, a diagonal line, it looks more like this, kind of coming off of the carrier frequency. These limiter sweeps are super easy to see because it's just that diagonal coming off of the carrier. So back to that again. Now here comes the Morse code. Now with this Perseus software, I can't zoom in very close. If I'd been running SDR Console, I could have really zoomed in pretty close and actually seen the dits and dahs on the waterfall. So one piece of advice, obviously, if you have the means of using an SDR for these, do so. You don't even have to stay up all night and waiting for it. You can set up a schedule to have it record automatically for you, automated, and then you wake up the next day and see if you caught it or not. But again, don't give up just because you don't hear it at the beginning or middle of the test or whatever. This was the loudest that they were all night, and it's right. I mean, you can see on the clock there it says 01:59:47 Central. The test was ending in like 10 seconds. All right. And then they were gone. That was it. So I had them. It was about 5 minutes that I had those tone sweeps and Morse code in there at its strongest. And you can, even with it not being all the way zoomed in, you can kind of see the dits and dahs on the waterfall there, on this Morse code sequence right here. And then you have the sweeps here, the linear sweep or the limiter sweeps, and then we have these tones coming in. So it's very easy to see on the waterfall where it wasn't that way all night. That was the strongest that we had them all night and was right at the end. So with these DX tests, never give up, my friends, just because you didn't hear it at the beginning, especially the further away that place is from you that the DX test is occurring in. Montana's not super close to me here in Louisiana. So it took a little bit of time for the propagation to lengthen out that way for me to be able to get the signals from Montana. And boy, once they did, they were super, super loud. All right, let's do a look at our tweet of the week. So you guys know I like to highlight tweets that I see or that you guys nominate that are AM, FM, DX related. And so I like to highlight those here on the channel. If you're on Twitter, again, twitter.com/DX Central is our Twitter account. So make sure when you're on there, if you find an AM or FM DX related tweet that you think is helpful, by all means, tag us and use the hashtag DXC tweet of the week to nominate a tweet of the week that you think should be the tweet of the week. So let's look and see what we have for this week's tweet of the week.
It's time for the DX Central Live hashtag tweet of the week. Tweet. Tweet, tweet.
All right, so for our tweet of the week this week, normally when I do these, when I'm pulling one up, or you guys nominate what you usually nominate, but when I pull one up from my side, I try to pull one that is helpful for like tips or tricks or helpful information for DXers to kind of help them with DX. And sometimes it can be just hearing something different. So this is actually one from our friend Arnie, the Easeman. He does a lot of eSkip DX over in Europe, and he actually was doing some DX here and caught India. And this is not one that you typically hear very often, especially my stateside DXers. You guys probably don't have a lot of India in your logbook. So I wanted to pull this one up. This is from 1242 kilohertz. He heard this one, I guess, on the 9th or 10th there. So about a day or so ago. He hasn't had super great conditions up in his neck of the woods, but he did get this one here from India. So let's take a gander at some AM radio as heard from Europe that is broadcasted from India.
Based in India's initiatives to promote millet transformation of agriculture cooperation for the transformation of agriculture. He referred to the importance of millet as a nutritious food and the efforts made by India to promote millet as product during the International Year of Millet 2023. He urged the member countries to adopt a conducive agricultural food system and a healthy diet for all. He asked participating countries to actively participate in India's initiative to promote millet as a food.
There you go. That is AMDX as heard from Europe of a station from India. And Bill, I'm with you. I have more Jupiter in my logbook than I do India. So there you go. That is that's what it sounds like over there. So thought that would just be a fun thing to share for our tweet of the week, just to know that. And I'm sure that there are some folks over in those neck of the woods that probably view India and some of these other countries as pests. And most of us over here in the States are going, So that's our DXE tweet of the week from our friend Arnie, the Easeman.
It's time for the DX Central Live hashtag tweet of the week. Tweet. Tweet, tweet.
All right, let's get back to some more AMDX. We're sitting on 790 and 800. Those are our two frequencies of the week for our medium wave frequency challenge. We're sitting right now with our Elad FDMS3, and we are looking at 50 degrees. And well, 50 and I guess 230 is the other side of it. So we're looking bi-directional here. We'll be doing shout outs here in a few moments for Bill or for Earl and some other folks. So and Earl, Mike, and some other folks, and we'll also share our logs from the week. So don't go away. Shout outs on the way. First, some DX. It's possible, Carl. I didn't hear any from my side. I know know that Todd typically does when he does his DX tests. They're usually just code, voice, and tones and sweeps and stuff. I can ask, though.
Lowe's, actually. Find deals on endless festive holiday decor, like 20% off on pre-lit artificial trees and endless gifts found only at Lowe's. Like the new Cobalt 257-piece mechanic tool set for $99, valued over $600 if purchased separately. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday market. Start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/16. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
So there's the RR Morse code from Merlot. That's my guess, Rob.
A different way. I wanted to find a different answer. I was sick and tired of feeling how I felt, and that's why I started to seek help, and that's when I checked myself into a treatment center.
More at I'mListening.org. Talk Save Lives. Check out BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM. With the Joes and Aaron Hawksworth on the BetQL Network. I felt like Kevin from Home Alone. Oh my gosh. Between the first interception, I was like, oh, that sucks. And there was another, and another. And Aaron Rodgers was fantastic. He just looks dumbfounded. BetQL Daily with the Joes and Aaron Hawksworth, presented by
And now we're getting Merlot coming in a little bit louder here on the twin loops. Let's swap it over to the Kaz, Southeast Kaz here, and see what we have here from 790 on the Perseus. Yeah, there they are. So for any of you guys who only can hear the Morse code IDs or maybe the beeps at the top of the minute, this is what Relot does in between all that.
They might know something that we don't know, that both quarterbacks might not play, and
Luego 41 minutos. Activa cátedra de la UCLA en Universidad de Ciencias Médicas. La Universidad de Ciencias Médicas de Santiago de Cuba activó la cátedra de la Organización Continental Latinoamericana y Caribeña de Estudiantes para lograr la integración de los jóvenes de la localidad con el continente.
Dalila Montalvo, presidenta elegida por los miembros de la Federación Estudiantil Universitaria, expresó el compromiso de mantener viva la figura de los principios de José Rafael Barona, mártir de esta plataforma.
Refirió los principios a la
I mean, that's... Yeah, Earl, that's what we got here.
Machismo y neocolonialismo y toda conducta que lesione la dignidad humana.
Montalvo insistió en la necesidad de estudiar la historia del movimiento estudiantil latinoamericano, realizar encuentros de generaciones con los becarios extranjeros de las instituciones docentes de la provincia sanjuanera.
And let's go up and check 800 now and see what we have here, if we still have PJB.
Mi amigo recibió esas puñaladas y eso cambió todo el curso de mi vida. En ese momento, during the week, they do it better than the church does this business of backslapping. Tony, tal vez puedas entender por qué trato de vivir mi vida para que straighten out. Es por la misma razón.
So we have two religious stations, one in Spanish, one in English. The English is most likely our local here in New Orleans. The Spanish is, I think, most likely going to be PJB and Bonaire.
I found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. They lost the Bible and they lost it in the church. Now they found the Word of God. And that's the only thing that you've got as a weapon, friends. It's the Word of God that's quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. There's no shortcut today, easy route. There's no new method to revival. And we have a flood tide of books on Christian experience, and I've looked over quite a few of these books. May I say to you?
All right, so yep, we have PJB in there, Bonaire, on 800 with our local. So we're gonna have to do some phasing and things like that to get rid of one of those at least. PJB will go off schedule here at some point this evening, and so that'll just leave them the local that I have to deal with, and I can phase them out. 790, we've got Relot, we've got KBME in Houston, We've got WMC in Memphis. So far, all the usual players are showing up here that we typically hear. So we'll probably have to do, again, some phasing, maybe some different antennas to try to get something different out of that. But 2 on each frequency so far, so not too bad. I did hear this one here, KFYO in Lubbock the other day on a sunrise recording, so hopefully I can pull them back in again. I know that's going to be an option that could be potentially there. And yeah, I'd like to hear this one, KURM up here in Rogers, that Keegan was talking about, that he hears up there. I'd love to hear them a bit. Maybe Sunset, I can get those guys. Or Cozy here in Texarkana, maybe. Again, Sunset, maybe. This is the one, though. This is the one I'm hoping I can somehow, some way, find a way to pull in Fargo into my logbook. I mean, they're pretty widely heard in this neck of the woods here, right? In the Midwest, upper Midwest. But down here, that's one that I would love to hear. So we'll keep trying for them, hopefully. I haven't had a lot of success with these super far west. And by super far west, I mean like Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, Arizona. I've heard a little bit in New Mexico, a little bit of Colorado. I heard no South Dakota, but Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, those are not too common. It takes a DX test to get Montana, and don't even mention Idaho, Oregon, Washington, or California. I mean, California, I've heard a little bit, some of the bigger guns, especially when I first moved here. But other than that, not too much. So let's do some shout outs. Time to do some more shout outs. Again, if you have any new logs, new states, new countries, we'll do one more round of these before we, if we have new ones to add in, we'll do one more round before we wrap up the night here next hour. So starting with Earl, our friend, Earl, hearing 7 freaking new ones this week. Congratulations, my friend. Yeah, Earl Higgins getting 7 new ones. Another big number here, Mike Bates, 9 new ones for Mike. Yeah. Just a few moments ago, Carl DeWitt with a brand new one from WNIS here on 790. Out of Virginia. So the frequency challenge is already hit with a new one for our friend Carl. Good job, man. Hey, Lee, what's going on? Welcome. And Troy, not only a new log, but new state. KSEN DX test over on 1150 from Montana. Good job. Yeah. And let me share what we've got here. So we got 9 new ones this week. We did KSEN Montana, which we already had Montana from KJJR, but that was a new log for us. KRJE in Westlaco, Texas on 1290. That was a new one. Managed to phase out KWKH up in Shreveport just enough to get WLBA in Gainesville, Georgia. I think that was one of the tips that you had. Or somebody in social media had a tip that they were being heard. So, and then I decided to go on a little bit of a tear of trying to hear new ones on frequencies I didn't have a whole lot on. So I spent some time on 1650 and I netted 2 new ones, KSVE El Paso and KBJD in Denver. Both of those were ones I've been looking for a while. We'd mentioned 790 here, KFYO, which is what got me the idea to use these 2 frequencies. In Lubbock, got them this week. 1230 phased out my local here in New Orleans for KSLO in Opelousas, Louisiana, 120 miles on 1230. So finally heard something else on 1230 other than my local. This was the big shock of the week for me. I did not expect to have, until tonight, did expect to have this one in here. On 1060, I was phasing out my local on 1060. Got KRCN, Longmont, Colorado, right as they were switching to their nighttime power, right, and the gray line was right to their east, and they just disappeared on me running Catholic programming. So that was a nice one. Another one from Colorado to get. Anytime I get anything out that way is always a very big thrill. this is one last night. I wish I'd gotten this an air check of this one because the ID was crystal clear, but I heard it on SDR Console and I wasn't recording. And since it doesn't have the same capability that Jaguar does with the DVR functionality, I didn't get this air check. But 1270 WLIK, Newport, Tennessee, got them last night. And then the two new ones we had tonight, 1270 WXGO, Madison, Indiana. And then thanks to a tip from Barry, HJAR in Cartagena, Colombia with 1 kilowatt to give us 9 new ones this week. I think it was 9, wasn't it? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. There we go. 10 new ones this week. Woohoo! So, yeah. Again, if you have a new one, new log, new state, new country, let us know in the chat. We'll do one more look for shout-outs before the end of the program tonight. Let's go back over here and get ready for our next top-of-the-hour alert. We're about to sit here on 790 and 800 and see what we can hear. But first, let's do a really quick break. And when we come back, we'll wrap up this next top of the hour and go on our way here with our new Week 8 Medium Wave Frequency Challenge on DX Central Live.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live every Friday night at 6:45 Central right here on YouTube and now Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. We've added all 3 platforms, those other 3 platforms, to our nightly or weekly live streams. And so no matter where you're watching us tonight, we appreciate you being part of the fun, and be sure to join us every week. We'll be right here broadcasting from the North Shore Studios. I want to take it real quick before we dive into our next top of the hour here. I want to make sure that we say thank you to all veterans out there. I know we have quite a few DXers that are friends of the channel or participating even tonight, perhaps, that are veterans. So thank you very much for your service. Thank you for protecting our country and fighting for our freedoms. We appreciate you today and every day. So thank you so much. Back to the live DX, though, we go. Let's take a look here and see what we have on 790 here on the Perseus.
En el territorio McLean el pasó que esos años han resultado vitales en su desarrollo profesional, pues ha sido testigo de todos los cambios financieros en el país. Nuevos de patrimonio.
Otorga premio de patrimonio documental al Museo de Santa Clara. El Premio Nacional de Conservación del Patrimonio Documental de la Nación Cubana en la categoría de restauración fue entregado este viernes al Museo Provincial de Villa Clara.
El galardón lo otorga el Ministerio de Ciencia, Tecnología y Medio Ambiente. Entre los premios del centro se encuentran este inventario de documentos restaurados, la mayoría pertenecientes al siglo XIX y XX.
Los más antiguos datan de la década de 1870 y entre ellos aparecen los procesos históricos a los que estuvieron vinculados Serafín Sánchez, Máximo Gómez, Valeriano Fuller, José Martín, Francisco Garrido, Carlos Rolón y Carolina Rodríguez, figuras relacionadas con las guerras independentistas en Cuba.
El director del museo, Andy Guerra, señaló que restaurar el patrimonio documental es de vital importancia para preservar la memoria histórica de la nación.
Ministerio de Educación informa sobre cambios para acceder a la carrera de periodismo. Para fomentar la formación a profesionales más integrales, se informa que en los meses de noviembre y enero se ejecutará el proceso de selección de los aspirantes de preuniversitario al colegio universitario para la carrera de periodismo.
Los seleccionados tendrán la oportunidad de completar su bachillerato en la propia universidad donde estudiarán la carrera, combinando los estudios de primer grado con actividades de preparación y creación de habilidades para tener éxito en estos.
A partir de esta convocatoria, el ingreso a periodismo será solo a través del colegio universitario. Cursarlo y aprobarlo permitirá a los estudiantes el acceso directo a dicha carrera.
Los interesados en esta
So we've got Relo in here, and I'm assuming this FSR station is most likely KBME. I know we had them on the CAS earlier.
Serious? Did you email the transportation company? Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster. I don't speak it either. Indeed can help him hire great people fast. Thanks, Indeed. Indeed, you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credits and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tailgating in Texas is serious business, and there's no better way to bring home the win than with specs, wine, spirits, and finer food. Whether you're the king of the couch or the parking lot hotshot, Specs has the stadium-sized selection and lower prices you need to stock up for the ultimate home field advantage. Score more for less on world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and loaded gourmet party trays. Specs has you covered from end zone to end zone with everything you need to keep cheering all week long. From beers, spirits, and wine to flatware, cups, plates, chips, dips, sodas, and so much more. If you're not shopping at Specs, you've got your helmet on backwards. Because
all right, we're going to do top of the hour alert. We're on 790 right now, but obviously we are recording. So we'll also, after the fact, after the top of the hour, we'll go back to 800 and see what we missed. So let's do it. For the final time tonight, it's top of the hour alert, which means we're going red, my friends, and we're looking for IDs. We're on 790. Let's see what we got. There's the bet underneath. That's Memphis.
Just introduces more volatility into the equation, right? Where you will have guaranteed points and McDermott's going to go for the touchdown.
Inside the betting line, Space of the afternoon, delivering you the best live bets on the board.
We were trying to make everybody happy.
It all kicks off every Sunday at 8 Eastern on the new and improved Odyssey app, and watch live on Twitch at BetQL, presented by BetMGM.
You know those headlines that make you stop scrolling and actually read an article? I might.
Actually, let's switch over to our
On my podcast,
Elad, because if we have this live, we'll go back on both 790 and 800 since we're recording on that. Let's do it here live on the Elad, though.
We were talking about a time 300 million years ago, if you can imagine. There was a dragonfly. It had a 2-foot wingspan.
Just search for Something Off-Beat in the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Check out BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM. With the Joes and Aaron Hawksworth on the BetQL network.
Is there such a thing as a get-right spot when you don't have it anymore? Look what happens when you remove Devontae Adams from this offense. A lot of things can change. I don't think there's going to be all of a sudden we're going to be turning back the clock with Brady or Rodgers.
BetQL Daily with the Joes and Aaron Hawksworth, presented by BetMGM. 9 to noon Eastern on the BetQL network.
Always live on the free Odyssey app is 790 The Bet. WMC Memphis, the Mid-South's home for sports talk and wager payment. With the BetQL network, 790 The Bet. An Odyssey station.
It's time.
So there you go. There's WMC Memphis. We'll grab that as an air check, actually, I think. Because I don't think I have... do I have MC? An air check? Let me double check and see. I don't think I do. Memphis? Nope. So we're going to grab an air check off of this live stream tonight and put that up on our channel here as an air check for WMC. Let's go back over to the Perseus, though, now and see what we missed here on 790 for the top of the hour. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it, my friend.
En el año 64 de la revolución de La Habana, siga transmite Radio Reloj. El canal de información continua más antiguo del mundo. Hoy es viernes 11 de noviembre de 2022. En 1940 se funda la emisora Radio Cadena Habana. Locutores: José Luis Núñez, Marco Ramírez Miranza. A continuación, titulares. Recibió de Escalera al secretario general iberoamericano.
Wow.
A la mano. El presidente de Cuba reiteró la disposición de contribuir a la Secretaría General Iberoamericana en materia de cooperación. Canciller de Cuba rechazó acciones injerencistas de Estados Unidos hacia Nicaragua. Mencionaban a la sexta conferencia de cooperación internacional Estados Unidos del Caribe. El Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores de Cuba felicitó a Angola por su aniversario de independencia. Los titulares continuarán. Radio Reloj. 10 minutos, seguimos con más titulares. Intercambiaron autoridades de la isla y Colombia sobre prevención de enfermedades.
All right, so there's we got Rouleau. I think I heard KBME. I have to go back and re-listen to it again, but I'm pretty sure I heard the ID from KBME here at the top of the hour, just after the top of the hour. And then obviously we heard a little bit weaker on this one than we did on the Twin Loops, but we heard Memphis again, WMC, with their ID as well. So let's check out 800 and see what we had here on the Cats. That Sean, that was Rouleau reading a news story about Nicaragua, probably. They do a lot of news from Central and South America on Relo.
Le dijo que fuera y predicara a los gentiles porque eran un pueblo pagano y los judíos eran el pueblo de Dios. Dios le dijo a él que testificara, pero a él no le gustó esto porque sintió, somos el pueblo de Dios. Sabemos que en este corto periodo de tiempo nosotros los gentiles tenemos la oportunidad.
That one gets me a lot though. You'll hear like Panama, or you'll hear Paraguay, or some random thing like that. And you're like, huh? They do a lot from Colombia. They have a lot of news stories out of Colombia, and I always kind of perk up, go, hey, what? It's Relo.
De conocer al Señor Jesús. Aquellos que acuden a Yeshua y lo reciben como su Mesías, Jesús como Salvador, serán usados a su vez como Jonás. ¿Qué hay de tu?
Yeah, Venezuela's the other one. Yeah.
En este mismo momento te
right now, Norfolk, this is on the southeast facing kHz. So this is facing directly at Bonaire, directly at Transworld Radio Bonaire. It's 125 degrees. They're at 127. So the English station here is my local.
WSHO New Orleans. With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Ukraine's president says special military units have entered a key city that Russia had been holding.
Russian forces captured Kherson early in the war. Now that Ukraine is back in control.
Now, I don't remember. Someone's going to have to remind me. I believe there are two antenna patterns that they have at Transworld Radio. One kind of beams our direction, right? Stop. One kind of faces our way. The other one flips down into South America. And I think that we just heard was them flipping, if that's the case. So it sounds right. I feel like I've heard that before. So someone remind me if that's the case or not. But I believe they have two antenna patterns, kind of a Caribbean, North America pattern, and then another one that goes down into South America. They may have more than that. I don't know. But those, I feel like I've heard about that before. And it sure sounded like they flipped a switch because they were loud and then gone. It wasn't like they faded out. They just gone. So let's go back and listen to that again.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Ukraine's president says special military.
That's what I thought, Barry. Thank you.
Entered a key city that Russia had been holding.
Russian forces captured.
I mean, you can hear it, right? Like, here's how again, I'm pointed right at them. Hear how loud they are here at 30 seconds till, and then right after the top of the hour, right there at the top of the hour, watch how they just go.
De conocer al Señor Jesús. Aquellos que acuden a Yeshua y lo reciben como su Mesías, Jesús como Salvador, serán usados a su vez como Jonás. ¿Qué hay de tu vida? En este mismo momento te sientes atrapado por este increíble miedo a la muerte, a la enfermedad y al horror. ¿Estarías dispuesto a decir en oración a Jesús, Señor, de acuerdo con las Escrituras, recibo a Jesucristo como mi Salvador?
WSHO New Orleans. With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Ukraine's president says special military units have entered a key city that Russia had been holding.
Russian forces captured.
Still there, but nowhere near.
Early in the war. Now that Ukraine is back in control. A Ukrainian flag flew over a monument in the city's central square. People waving Ukrainian flags like Popova Lydia.
So here's where, if you're like me, right? So PJB is going to be a very loud station for this early part of the evening, right? So this is where my opportunity, once they have that antenna pattern switch, if you're like me, and that's going to be a station that's going to be kind of not a pest, I don't want to say pest, but a dominant station for you on the frequency. Here's where I'm actually not facing the right camera, am I? I forgot I switched. So this is where you would then take and try to do some phasing or whatever to kind of get rid of them until they do that switch. And then once they make that switch, now you have an open frequency again to try to hear some stuff. Now, obviously, I have to do some phasing here locally to get rid of my local station in New Orleans. But if PJB is kind of running the frequency, fret not, they will disappear or severely weaken around this time, 0300 UTC, 2100 Central, 2200 Eastern time, they're going to disappear or severely weaken, which will open up that frequency for you to some new stuff. So good chance for you to hear some other things that would be hidden otherwise.
Street celebrating. She said, "We are grateful to the Ukrainian armed forces. Our boys are amazing." Video showed villagers embracing troops en route to the city. Kremlin remains defiant, insisting the withdrawal in no way represents an embarrassment for President Vladimir Putin, and the entire Kherson region is still part of Russia. I'm Ed Donahue.
Former President Donald Trump is suing the House committee investigating the January 6th attack.
So yeah, now you can hear them super weak underneath, but I mean, they were consistently strong all night, right? They were consistently big signal all night until right there at 0300 when they switched their antenna pattern. So there you go. Yeah, David, I did luckily hear them at the last top of the hour with some Transmundial and things like that, so we were able to confirm that who you had was PJB. But then them disappearing at 0300 actually doesn't hurt my feelings because it does open up the frequency a little bit. So, all right. So, we've got the new Google form out. I'm about to go over here to social media and the email reflectors and post our blog post. The blog post will have the highlight video from week 6, the raw data from week 6, because I know you guys like to look at that as well, and our Google form for week 8. And so be on the lookout for that, and I'll put it on my Twitter. I'll put it on the Facebook groups that we frequent. I'll put it on the email reflectors, and obviously you can just, if you want to bypass all that, go right to our website, and you can find it there on our blog post, which was just posted this evening around 8 o'clock Central Time. So just go to dxcentralonline.com, and you'll be able to find the blog post there that has all the information that you need about this week's Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. I know we're broadcasting on multiple platforms here, but don't forget, if you are on our YouTube channel, we'd love it if you subscribe and give us a like, and do obviously follow us here on Twitch as well, and here on Facebook and on Twitter, because we're broadcasting on all 4 platforms now. Twitter.com/DXCentral. That's where you can find more information about our live streams and other things that we're doing as we do our DX pursuits. Sean mentioned he just have his I wanted to mention this one. We talked a lot about it last week, so I didn't want to harp on it too much this week. But the W6 LVP loop. So I see this question so often in the Facebook groups and on Twitter and so forth, especially the Facebook groups, from DXers wanting to know, what's a great antenna for AM DX? And that's such a loaded question because there's so many answers. There's no one single answer, right? But I can tell you, the W6 LVP magnetic loop, it's a fantastic antenna. It's made here in the United States. If you're in Europe, you might be able to get a good deal on the Wellbrook loop because you're there. It's a little more expensive for us to have it shipped over. So it gets pretty pricey, but the W6 LVP is much, much cheaper. The performance is on par with the Wellbrook, and not just for AM DX. I know some of you do FM as well. It'll also do FM. You can also DX FM with this thing, as well as everything in between. I absolutely love this antenna. Sean, KX9X here in the channel, in the chat, he just ordered one. It should be here this time next week. He ordered from Larry Plummer. Fantastic guy. Larry is a great dude. Provides great service. So if you have questions or need some help, some guidance along the way, he's able to provide that. So if you're in the market, if you're looking for a great antenna, I was saying to someone earlier this week, it doesn't, even if you, like, I have a KHZ, or I have 2 KHZs, I have a Superloop, and I have 2 W6 LVP loops. And you can see I was using the twin loops tonight pretty frequently, right? In addition to the KHZ, and they gave me different views. So even if you already have antennas, it's not going to hurt at all to add a loop to your arsenal. Try to get it as far away from a building as you can. If you have to have it on a balcony or a patio on your apartment or your condo or whatever because of HOA stuff, that's fine. I have mine on, I take mine portable with me. I have a little portable version that I put on a little PVC stand, and I sit it on top of the air conditioning unit or a little table in my hotel room, or maybe on the bed, depending on what I have available to me. I try to get it close to the window if I can, but I'll just put it on that PVC stand and have it sitting there inside the hotel room, and I'll turn it until I get rid of the noise, and then I just DX. The turning to get rid of the noise, right? And then whatever I catch, I catch. And I have playlists up here from Omaha, Lake Forest on my YouTube channel that has some of the stuff that I've heard, and I've heard some good stuff. I heard Radio Rebellion from California on a portable W6 LVP loop. You tell me, right? I heard all kinds of stuff from Omaha on the portable W6 LVP. So it's a fantastic antenna. So there are some cheaper models of magnetic loops. In fact, I ordered the K180 and I have the MLA30. Both of those are on order from China. They'll be here by the end of the month. I want to test them out. I just want to see. Right? I just want to see what they have. There's the U-loop that you can get or make. But it's hard to beat that W6 LVP loop. 12 dB of gain. It's not a passive, it's an active loop. And if you turn it, if you set it up and you've got noise, just turn it. Put it on a rotor if you can. Right? A little TV rotor, RCA TV rotor is what I use. I think the 1226E. And you can find it on Amazon for like $100, I think. And I put mine on top of a fence top rail, 12-foot pole. And that's it. So I see this question so often, so I just want to touch on it here before we wrap up tonight. If you're in the market, if you're looking for an upgrade or reliable, good, solid performing loop, I logged over 200 stations in 2 weeks on my W6 LVP loop when I first moved here to New Orleans. 200 in like a week. Can't beat that, man. You just can't beat it. You just can't beat it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the W6 LVP loop. And then I'll let you guys know. I'll do comparisons for the MLA30 and the K180 to my full size and my portable loop. And you're gonna get the brutal honest on it. If it's great and it's comparable, you'll hear me say it. And I mean, those are a lot cheaper. If they're not, you're going to hear me say it. And we're obviously talking about AM. Now, HF is a whole different ballgame. If you're in the HF bands, different ballgame. Some of those smaller loops may be okay. But for AM, we're going to be focused on AM. So I'll tell you what it's like for AM and medium wave DX. And I'll give you the straight shoot on it. All right. Let me take one last look in the chat here. Let's see. Good. KX9X, Sean. Good. 75 feet away on a rotor. You'll be happy. Run some RG6 quad shield to that sucker. Yep. And Norfolk, you're absolutely right. Using those loops to get rid of noise, right? It's not so much zeroing in on a station as it is getting rid of what you don't want. Noise, pest stations, and then seeing what's left over, right? That's where the loop is going to really serve well. So there you go. And also, the reason I have two loops, I have one on this side of the house, one on the other side of the house, is so I can run it through my MFJ phaser, which I just got to get the power supply for, and I can phase it, and I put them both in the exact same direction, right? If I have them both pointed at 50 degrees, then I can use some phasing. And let's say I'm at northwest southeast, right? I'm at 305, 125, like I am with my CAS, or somewhere kind of close to that. I can then use some phasing to get rid of Cuba. And now what am I doing? If I get rid of Cuba, which is the southeast, guess what? I'm pointing northwest. So I turn it into a highly directional antenna by using phasing, by using two antennas separated enough and both pointed in the same direction. I can basically turn that figure 8 pattern into a cardioid laser. So that's the goal. We'll talk about that though, because I still have to get the power supply for that. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap up for this evening. So I appreciate all of you guys jumping on, whether you were on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, no matter where you were. We appreciate you being here. Again, don't forget about this week's challenge, 790 to 801. Anything in between those two frequencies is good to go. I'll be putting up all the links for the blog post up on social media. We already have it on the website, so you can go to the website to grab it as well. We'll see you guys next Friday night right here on DX Central Live. Now on 4 different platforms. So no matter what your preference is, we got you covered. Take care, my friends. Best of DX. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hopefully you have a chance to do some antenna projects. I'm going to try to do a little bit this weekend. It may rain, so maybe I'll be in the workshop doing some work. Hopefully you have a chance to do some DX or some fun, if nothing else. So take care. 73 best of DX, everyone. We'll see you next time right here on DX Central Live.
This is DX Central Live.